Am I the asshole for paying for my dog's surgery instead of helping my girlfriend's sister with her rent? I have a dog that's on the older side at 9 years old, and a few weeks ago it lost the use of its back legs. I had to get surgery for him because I was not getting him put down. All in all, it came to £8,500, all of which I had to pay out of pocket for. This wasn't a huge problem because I have plenty saved up, and in general I am well off. Here's the issue. My girlfriend's sister has been struggling with rent. Apparently she's behind by a few months and panicking about being kicked out. When my girlfriend found out what I paid for the surgery, she got really upset with me and said I was selfish. Her words were along the lines of, "You'd spend $8,000 on a dog, but you won't even help my sister keep a roof over her head." Since then my girlfriend has been pissed off with me and keeps calling me cheap and selfish for not helping her sister. I feel like I shouldn't have to suffer for another person's poor life choices. The reason her sister is in this predicament is because her relationship fell apart and she's living in a place she can't afford. Further to that, I own a 4-bedroom home and my girlfriend suggested her sister moving in with us, but I refused. Am I the asshole for refusing to help her sister? Not the asshole. However, you need to dump your girlfriend, who is determined to make her sister's poor choices your problem. Not the asshole. You had a responsibility to provide your dog with the best care possible. I'd get a new girlfriend if I were you. Not the asshole. You are responsible for your dog. You are not responsible for other adults' decisions, including their rent payments. Move the girlfriend out. Change the locks. Get a new, more independent girlfriend. Not the asshole. Why doesn't your girlfriend pay her sister's rent? Drop the girlfriend and enjoy the time you have with your pup, who you will probably need to dedicate more time to due to the illness and old age. Am I the asshole for not telling my neighbor I'm having a fence installed? My husband and I recently bought a home and decided to have sections of fence installed to close off our backyard, so our dogs don't get out. One of our neighbors has a wire fence between their yard and ours. We are having 2 small sections of fence from our house and from our shed to their fence, just to close things off. We went through a company, gave them the property survey showing the property lines, and they got a permit from the city. My husband and I didn't even think to tell our neighbor we were doing this. We aren't connecting to their fence or building along the entire property line, just building up to the property line. We even have a small gap at each section since their fence apparently isn't on the property line. The woman who lives next door came over very angry, visibly shaking, and was mad we didn't tell them and worried that we were encroaching. My husband and I feel really bad, but we don't really think we did anything wrong. Technically not the asshole, but it would be common courtesy to let the neighbor know that you're building a fence close to the property line and that you had the survey done to make sure that you would not be encroaching. Just saves other people the trouble of being surprised or worried. Not the asshole, but unwise. You have taken all steps to make sure you are not encroaching on your neighbor's property rights, but it would have been smarter to foster good neighborly relations by informing them of this up front. As you have indeed done everything correctly, you can probably smooth this over with baked goods or a potted plant and an apology, as well as paperwork verifying that you're only on your own land, if asked for it. Not the asshole, but it would have been nice for you to give them a heads up. Not the asshole, it's your property and your business what you legally do to it. Your neighbor can go kick rocks and mind their own business. Not the asshole. The woman who lives next door came over very angry, visibly shaking, and was mad. Sounds like someone who has never experienced a real problem in their life before LOL. She came in real hot. You're not even doing anything that interferes with her property, from the way you describe things. I would have given the neighbor a heads up, but not doing so doesn't put you in Toashul territory, in my opinion. Not the asshole, you aren't obligated to tell her anything about how you intend to use your property, and her reaction is not your responsibility. Am I the asshole for the way I look after my son? I told my wife today that she treats me like the babysitter she doesn't trust. We have a 5-year-old son who has way more energy than either of us. My wife puts a lot of effort into keeping him entertained, while I try to teach him to entertain himself by setting reasonable boundaries. I work from home about 60 hours a week, so sometimes I'll set him up with something and then get back to work. He often hovers near me, and about once a week I'll watch a short YouTube video with him, planes, trains, trucks, typical 5-year-old stuff. My wife has a strict no-screen policy, which I mostly agree with. I don't believe in daily screen time, But I think the occasional YouTube video is harmless if he's behaved and just wants a short break with me while I'm working. I also take him out a couple times a week for longer activities. Hiking, swimming, football, etc. My wife stays home full-time, so she spends many more hours with him and is understandably frustrated by how demanding he can be. But when she gets home, she often asks, "What did you do with him today?" in a way that feels like a trap. She regularly asks if we watched videos. Today I lost my temper. Edit. I said fuck you and walked out fuming. /edit. We hadn't watched any videos, we worked on his behavior and played a board game. But she kept pressing, and I snapped. I think I've been holding a lot in, and her questioning just broke through my calm. Edit. And I am not allowed to broach the question with her. She becomes hostile and just repeats that she has a zero-tolerance policy when I ask to talk about it. /edit. Am I the asshole? Edit. For the way that I parent, or for getting mad about being called out on it? /edit. If you're going to ask if you're the asshole, don't make the context 8 paragraphs and then completely gloss over what you did with the word snapped. Too much missing information, but I'm landing on yes H. 1. You cannot care for a child while working, but she expects this. She is TA. 2. You and your wife have aligned on a no-screens policy that you are violating. You are the asshole. 3. From this post it sounds like you spend the bare minimum time with your son when you are not working. Unfortunately, today was a day you spent with your son while not working, but your wife didn't believe you because of your past actions, and you argued. Y'all need to sit down and have a conversation about when you will and won't spend time with son. And if your wife needs time without him, this is the perfect age for school to start. At 5 he should be in school, or at least preschool. There are lots of programs like Mother's Morning Out, or programs through churches or the community that could give him and you the break he needs. This gives him external opportunities for stimulation and socializing and gives parents a chance to catch their breath. Let me ask you this. What do you do with your kid besides playing with him? Do you do bedtime routine? Do you plan birthday parties? Do you take him to the doctor? Do you plan playdates? What do you mean by snapped? Why did you completely skip over that context that may make you the asshole? Does your wife get time out of the house and child-free? I don't think you can run with and entertain a child while you are working. Does 5 years old go to school at all? Am I the asshole for telling my brother to mind his own business after he accused me of using our mom? I, 20F, have been financially independent since I was 14. I dropped out of school to work full-time and moved out at 17 due to unsafe living conditions at home. My older brother, 25M, didn't get a job until he was 19 and recently moved back in with one of our parents, rent-free. In June, I was in a serious car accident that left me with L4/L5 spinal damage. Because of that, I had to quit my second job, which put me in a tight financial spot. To help out a bit, my mom and I agreed that I'd come over once a week to meal prep and cook dinner for the household. In return, she pays for the groceries. It's an agreement that works for both of us. She gets a break from cooking, and I get a proper meal without the added cost. My brother found out and told me I'm using our mom because I'm not the one paying for the ingredients and that I need to grow up. I told him to mind his own business, especially since he's living there rent-free and not contributing. On top of that, whenever I come over, he makes comments like, "Why are you here?" Or tells me to go home, and he's not joking. His tone is serious, and it feels pretty hostile. It's uncomfortable and makes me feel unwelcome in my own family's home. He's now acting like I was out of line for snapping at him, and of course my mom's on his side. Am I the asshole? Edit answering questions. Yes, he does eat the meals, and I make extra for his work lunches. Not the asshole. It's none of his business whatsoever. And I'm sorry to say, your mom is a bit of an asshole for siding with him after you finally snapped back. Not the asshole. You made this arrangement with your mom, not him. Just focus on healing, and your mom, that's most important. Your brother doesn't seem to care at all. Does he also get to eat the food you meal prep? I hope for your sake your healing process will go smoothly. I'm confused as to why your mom is on his side. She made the agreement with you about the meals. Is she saying that she'd rather you not do that anymore? I generally think adult children should work out their issues without getting their parents involved. But in this case, mom is smack in the middle, so she needs to intervene and either tell brother to cut it out or tell you that she's done with the meal prep agreement. Snapping or yelling usually makes you wrong, or at least not right. But in this case, what you've said was more of stating a limit. Get your mom involved with him, making you feel unwelcome. Tell him to either grow up or leave you alone, and decide if that meal is actually worth the time, effort, and pain of dealing with brother. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your brother's actions are those of a jealous 11-year-old. I would have said a lot more than just mind your own business. Not the asshole, but the sooner you get back to independence the better. Just stay away until she finally asks you why you don't come over anymore. Tell her the truth.